2, 3.
Merry Christmas!
And Happy New Year! Welcome to A Pot of Tales' very first and very last listener episode of 2023.
Whoop whoop!
Yeah! We have a few stories written by anonymous authors that were submitted, so me and Brandi will be reading those. And we have a very special guest today.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I am Brandi's husband. Easy to remember because we have similar names. I'll be reading parts of a novel that I am working on. Very excited to share it with y'all, and thank you all for having me on the podcast today.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
And also we have a special guest. Her name is Rosie. She's our dog. Just in case you hear some whining.
Yeah, because she's not getting the attention that she very well deserves.
Yeah.
And she's staring at us on the couch next to us, and her tail is wagging.
And she is so precious, and I love her.
We can post a Christmas picture of her.
Yay.
Yeah. So what's everyone's plans for Christmas?
Well, we're going to go to Dad's on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah, he hasn't told me those plans yet, but I just assumed. But last year we went to Danielle's. Are we doing that again, or are we just going to Dad's?
We might be just going to Dad's this year. That's what he said, possibly.
Cool. Nice and low-key.
And then we're going to be sleeping over Mom's house, so then we can wake up there in the morning.
Yeah.
Recliner action.
Yeah, right. I don't think I'm sleeping over Mom's. I don't think they have room for it anyways, because I don't really want to sleep on the couch with the dogs jumping on me.
Grammy will also be sleeping over,
yeah.
so...
Yeah, I won't fit in there. That's fine.
I think we're sleeping upstairs in the...
Yeah, with the recliners. Yeah. But, so I'll meet you guys there. Like I did last year, but I'll try not to be late this time.
Yay.
Yeah, don't be late.
I'm sorry, I'd like to sleep. And especially lately, because I've been so tired. But yeah, when you hear this, we'll find out if I was late or not. By the time you're hearing this, it'll be in motion and happening.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, so... Actually, one thing that's different this year that I didn't do last year is that Ryan's family, his big family, are having a Christmas party, and I got invited to it, and they're all wearing matching pajamas. Or, like, each family within the family are wearing matching pajamas.
So are you and Ryan going to be wearing matching pajamas?
Yeah.
Aww.
I know. It probably wouldn't happen if his sweet mother didn't just buy them for us, so. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I like hanging out with his family. They're fun. But other than that, it'll just be Christmas as usual.
Yeah, pretty much.
Christmas business as usual.
We spent Thanksgiving with my family, so we're going to spend Christmas with Brandi's family. So.
My family, too.
Your Brandi and Corinne's family. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Corinne's his sister-in-law, in case you didn't know.
Exactly.
In case you guys haven't figured out
how
similar our voices are, we're sisters.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we've ever mentioned that.
I don't think we've had to, because everyone that listens knows us. So.
Yeah. But whoever...
For that one guy that just happened to find us on YouTube or something and is like, this is nice. Thank you, guy.
Yes, thank you, guy.
Yeah.
And his name's actually Guy.
It might be.
Is it Guy?
I don't know.
Might be.
I haven't looked. Guy, what's your name? Email us at apotoftales@gmail.com and introduce yourself.
Yes, please.
Find out who you are. Where do you live? I'm just kidding. No, I'm cutting that out.
So our first story is submitted by anonymous author A. I started reading it, and I read the first paragraph, and I was like, this looks like it'll be great. So I sent like a nice email to them. I was like, thank you so much, we'll use it. And then I forgot to finish reading it, but Brandi said that she read it, and she really liked it. So I'm excited to hear what it is. So I'm going to be reading it and finding out what it's about, along with everyone else. But they did use one of our prompts, which is very flattering, that they decided that one of our prompts was good enough for them to use. So they used the genre thriller, and it was set in New York City, Times Square, and they included drums, just like we did, Brandi.
Whoa.
You gotta do it louder than that. Look how tiny.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Thank you for your submission.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm very excited to read this. And apologies if my throat's a little froggy. Still recovering from that cold from a couple weeks ago. And it likes to wreck my voice when I need it most. All right, so the story is titled The Truth. The Big Apple, the city that never sleeps. 8 million people live here. The only thing they have in common is that none of them know what is going to happen next. Someone is murdered in New York City every 18 hours. By the end of the day, one of these people will be gone. My overwhelming dislike for New York and its sports teams is unmeasurable. And I'm guessing that this is the reason they wanted to stay anonymous, because they are hating on their sports teams.
And all other sports teams.
And all other sports teams. We're not sports ball people, but we support from afar. If you like it, that's nice. I'm glad you're happy. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Oh, yep. I am from Massachusetts. It's in our DNA. We are born longtime rivals. I should have read that next sentence before assuming. This is why I should proofread things before reading them out loud.
It's funny because you'll ask questions sometimes in the middle of the story, like especially with mine.
I know, I
and
do it all the
I'm going
time.
to be like explaining it in the next sentence.
This is why I need to stop. I just need to hold my questions for the end. I can't help it. I get excited. Okay. So I'm from Massachusetts. It's in our DNA. We are born longtime rivals. Plus, there is the fact that New York is home to 3 times as many rats as people. What does he have against rats? I mean, they. What do they have against rats?
Have you seen those New York City rats, though?
Rats are pocket puppies. Even the
Not
wild
the New
ones.
York City rats.
I'm sure they are.
They're the size of guinea pigs.
They're pocket guinea pigs. I
No.
wanna meet one.
No.
I'm gonna give it some Cheez-Its.
No.
Yeah. I love rats. Rats are wonderful creatures.
Rats themselves are adorable as pets, but not New York City rats. They have all types of diseases.
If they didn't have diseases, would you like them though?
Maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Give the rats a break. They just want food, okay? And a nice warm place to live. Okay.
Alright, keep going.
Yeah. There is only one thing on this planet that could get me to voluntarily come to this concrete sewer. Oh, jeez. I love this. Her name is Samantha, or Sam as I call her. Sam by far is my favorite human on this planet. If God's plan didn't include our paths crossing, if we had not met, I know I would not be alive today. We started working together almost 2 years ago. When I met Sam, I was in a very dark and depressed time in my life. She showed me there was still value in my life and renewed my faith in God. I fell hopelessly in love with her, and it was not my intention, it just happened. I could not have stopped it from happening even if I wanted to. They say we have no control over who we love, and that is so true. I owe her this. I owe her everything. Maybe we met for this? Maybe I met her so I could save her? If something has happened to Sam, if she is gone, I will never forgive myself. I never told her how I felt or how important she is to me. When I find her, and I will, when I see her again, I love you will be the first thing I say. 3 days ago, Sam, her sister and mother, plus a few friends took their traditional after-Thanksgiving New York City bus trip to do some Christmas shopping. About 4 hours into their adventure, the air was getting cool as the sun was going down. Everyone decided to stop and grab a coffee and take a break near Times Square. While everyone rested, Sam decided to check out a music store across from their benches where they were sitting. She wanted to check out a drum set that was on display in the window. She never came out, or if she did, none of her friends ever saw her. That's where I will start. New York House of Drums. That's the name Sam's mother gave me. That's where they saw her last. The benches are only 30 feet away. They couldn't have missed her. Sam didn't leave through the front door. As I walked in the establishment, the odor of burning incense was lingering in the air, and the heat was up way too high. I immediately feel uneasy inside at this store. Not sure what that is, but something is off. For one thing, it's a store called House of Drums, and there is just one drum set in the window. Thrown about on the shelves is pocketbooks and shoes and women's hats. Hey, did you work here on Saturday? I asked the hippie-looking cashier behind the counter. There was no response. Is the guy deaf? I took 2 steps toward him, grabbing him by his long hair and his head. Oh, jeez. Sorry, it's not funny. I took 2 steps toward him, grabbing him by his long hair, and held his face sideways on the counter. I asked again, "Did you work on Saturday around sundown? Did you see this woman?" I said quietly, holding a picture of Sam in front of his face. "Dude, chill out, man. I had my buds in. What do you want?" "Have you seen this girl?" I asked slowly, holding Sam's photo inches from his face. "Man, the cops already asked us all. I wasn't on that night. Chuck was working. He is in the back." I tossed the hippie back behind the counter. I can't get over that. I'm sorry. It's just...
All I can picture is just like
I know.
throwing him against the wall.
I understand the aggression. It makes total sense. But, like, just this guy just hanging out, probably high, and, like, doesn't know what's going on. He's just getting thrown around like a rag doll. I tossed the hippie back behind the counter into a rack of Neil Diamond marked down CDs. Oh, Neil Diamond. And they came crashing down on him. I walked to the back towards a door with a bead string curtain. Entering the small storage room, I saw shelves with expensive pocketbooks, ladies' shoes, and assorted women clothing. As I ventured in farther, I stopped at the shelves with coats. On top of the pile was a dark purple winter woman jacket, the very same style Sam owned. Oh my God. I see where this is going. Oh no. I like this though. This is good. I picked up the coat and put my hand in the pocket and pulled out a protein bar. Oh, that shouldn't be in there.
A protein bar?
Yeah, if it's a brand new coat, that should not be in there.
Yeah.
Every muscle in my body went stiff, and my heart started to race the same way it did before every boxing match I had when I was younger. This is Sam's jacket. I saw another white wooden door and heard voices just beyond it.
The protein bar?
Was it the protein bar's voice?
No.
Is that what you're asking?
Is that what gave it away?
No. Just the fact that it seemed that there was a lot of women's clothing where a woman disappeared, and then what was the other hint? Let me see. The dark purple. Oh, no. It's right here. As I ventured in farther and stopped at the shelves with coats, and very, like, on top of the pile was a dark purple winter jacket, the same style Sam owned.
Oh, okay. I don't think I, processed that part.
Yeah. I saw another white wooden door and heard voices just beyond it. As I walked toward the door, I grabbed a broom and snapped the head off, leaving the broken and jagged and splintered remains. With one kick, the door flew open and came loose from its hinges. Nice. There were 3 men sitting at the table counting money. The room smelled like cigarettes and was dimly lit. They all had light red hair and scruffy-looking beards, and it was plain to see that they were not expecting me. The one on the left sprang to his feet, and I cracked his skull open with a broom handle, and he fell face first into a pile of money on the table. Dang, guy.
Why is
You
that
didn't
funny
ask.
to you?
No, it's just like, why didn't he ask, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, that's your first move, is just, let me just use this broken broom handle and whack your head. Okay. No, I like your writing, Anonymous. Don't worry. I like it. I'm just reading this live and finding out what happens. Live. Lesson learned. Read these things before you read them, so I don't start laughing at inappropriate moments. It's not funny. I'm sorry. No, it's very good. I like it. Please don't take this personally. Where was I? Okay. The one on the left sprang to his feet, and I cracked his skull open with the broom handle, and he fell face first into a pile of money on the table. The one on the right came at me with a knife and laughed. Typical Yankees, brings a stick to a knife fight. He took a swipe at me with his blade, but missed. I returned with putting my broomstick through his chest and out his back. Oh my God. That's some strength right there. That's got to be difficult to do with all those organs in between. And especially through the chest, like, you have to get right in the middle of the ribs, just right.
It's like the under part of your sternum.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part's soft.
Yeah, that part's soft. He made a slight exhale of air and was still. The blood flowed down his shirt. The third man stood and didn't know what to say. I wouldn't either. Someone just busts in and kills 2 of your friends.
I would say dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
I did and walked towards him after pulling the broomstick from his friend's chest. I will only ask one time, where is this woman? I said in a calm voice, holding up Sam's picture in front of him. He looked at the photo and then back to me, and then the broomstick. That's right, you are one wrong answer away from sleeping with your buddies. Now where is she? I said as I took another step closer. She must still be on the boat. It hasn't left yet. It was not our doing. They pay us to find blonde-haired, blue-eyed women. That's all, he answered. Oh, Brandi, you're in trouble. That's all? You take women against their will and put them on a boat. For what? He tried to get up from his seat, but a quick headbutt put it back in place. God. I'm sorry, it's so not funny. I don't know why it keeps, throwing me off. I don't know why I'm not expecting it at this point. What boat and where is it? You're going to take me there now and get me on that boat, I said as I headed to the back door with him and a handful of his hair. They will kill me if I take you there. They will kill both of us. These are not men you want to challenge, he replied, trying to pull away. This yours? I asked as I slammed him into the side of a white van parked by the back door. I opened the passenger door and threw him into the driver's seat. He took the keys from the ashtray and started the van. Drive now to the ship, understood? I said as the blade from the knife at his neck made a slight imprint just short of breaking the skin. Where did he get a knife? Did he have one before?
He probably got it off
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the guy they killed. Yeah, that's right. Because he said he had a knife for a knife fight, and he brought a broom. So he took it. That's what I'm saying.
He brought a broom to the knife fight, so then he took his knife.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't retain every detail while I'm reading. Okay. The drive was silent, neither saying a word. He knew exactly where he was going. He drove without hesitation. Seems he has made this trip before. If you were smart, you should be thinking of a way to get me onto that ship. If not, when we get to it, I will have no other use for you. Understood? I said, looking at him, then back to the road. Duncan is smart. All he cares about is money, right? He's not just going to let us walk up on the ship. The driver paused. Unless you were a buyer for what he is selling, he said. Selling? I asked. The woman, he replied. He sells the women to who? I said shockingly. All around the world, he answered. I thought to myself, if this Duncan sees the women as a commodity and a dollar value, he will not harm them. He would not want damaged goods to try to sell. The chances are good that Sam is, at least if nothing else, unharmed. She must be terrified and alone. I didn't see that coming. I thought she was going to be dead. Drive faster now, I said as I pressed the knife firmer against his neck. With that, he stepped on the gas, swerving in and out of traffic, passing cabs and buses. I almost said crabs and buses.
I thought you were going to say passing gas and
buses. Yeah. It clearly says cabs and buses, and I was like crabs, because I was thinking of boats.
Yeah.
The city was full of tourists who came here for the holidays. New Year's Eve was just around the corner, and many streets were already being blocked off. If the visitors only knew how close to terror they all are. This woman, she is your wife, yes? He asked. No, I replied. Right, then your girlfriend? No, I said without looking at him. What then to risk your life for? He asked me, looking confused. She's married, and more than a few years younger than me. Sam is absolutely beautiful in every way. She would be out of my league even if those things were different. She is the kindest, most honest person I have ever met. She is my friend. Sam is my angel. I would die 100 deaths for her, I said as I eased up the pressure on the knife at his throat. Brandon, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Get the microphone.
Yes.
Would you die 100 deaths for Brandi?
I would die more than that for her.
Okay, you can stay.
Only 100?
Only 100, he says. I don't know if you heard that.
Better lowball it.
I think that's quite a lot of deaths. Let me see, where was I?
It wouldn't be fun, but I would do it.
Oh, that's so nice. It'll be different every time, too, so you can just experience all of it. Sorry, that was messed up.
It's like I get offended.
Please don't die, Brandon.
Yeah, please don't.
You can stay a little longer than, 6 months?
7, actually.
Okay, sorry. I was just estimating real quick without thinking. Okay, back to the story. Die for her, a chance you have, he said with sympathy. If that's God's plan, so be it, I said. He drove the van at a quick pace in what seemed to be the worst part of the city. Every corner we turned, the area became darker and dirtier than the last. I just wanted Sam away from here. She didn't belong here. At a red light, there was a sign, Pier 3, and an arrow. He followed the sign. The van entered a large parking lot, and on the edge was a line of large ships tied to the dock. He pulled over and pointed. That's the one. Scottish Princess at the end, Chuck said. I sat silently for a minute, trying to put together a way of getting on the ship undetected. Then Chuck turned in his seat and started to speak. Okay, I've been thinking of you on the drive here. You are an unusual, large, dangerous man, yes. You come to New York with no weapons, no police, no plan. You stumble on my store, kill my men in no time. I'm not upset. I'm not like them. Fools the both. You hear now, still when I say you die, good chance, right? You do this for your friend, yes. You say angel, right? If you were horse in race, oh yeah, that's definitely someone with an accent probably. I just don't know what the accent is. Although they all said red hair. Oh wait, oh my god, I'm so stupid.
Irish.
No, listen. The boat was like Scottish something. Scottish princess. They're all Scottish. I'm so sorry, author A. I didn't pick that up in time, and I'm struggling to read because I don't have a Scottish accent. But everyone who's listening, I'm going to start that paragraph over. It's going to sound weird because I don't have a Scottish accent.
It's a great story, don't worry.
Yeah, it's great. No, I really want to know what happens. Okay. I'm going to start that paragraph over. Now that I understand this is a Scottish accent, and I do not have one, everyone pretend this is a Scottish accent.
All right.
Okay, I think on you while the drive here. You are an unusual, large, dangerous man, yes. You come to New York with no weapons, no police, no plan. You stumble on my store, kill my men in no time. I know upset, I not like them, fools the both. You hear now still when I say you die, good chance, right? You do this for friend, yes? You say angel, right? If you were a horse in race, I bet all money on you, no? So Chuck will help you save your Sam. I know this boat. I come to this country on this boat. It smells like toilet everywhere. Make me sick for 3 weeks. I mean, it's not wrong there. We get on ship, up 1 stair flight, then down 2 stair flight, and you where they keep people, right? I'm so sorry, author A. I'm butchering this. I hope everyone understands this. If we die, we die. If we free girls and get off ship, you let me go. Girls? Sam is not alone? I asked. Not alone. Not sure, but she's not alone. He answered as he fumbled, trying to light a cigarette. Keys, I said, holding out my hand. You expect me to trust you. That's not going to happen. You're going to get me on that boat. If you can get me to Sam, I will not spare your life. Oh. I will not make any promises or save you if you are in trouble. Well, why would he help him now? If he's got no incentive of living. Well, let's find out what he says, because he says something next. I will accept. I too will be hero like you, no? He asks as he puts the keys in my hand, and we start walking. What a good man. What a good bad man. Chuck grabbed my arm and pulled me beside a pile of pallets as 2 trucks pulled away from the Scottish Princess. He pointed at the trucks and said, We are in good luck, right? Those are Duncan's men. They are going somewhere. We hurry. They will not be away for long. As the trucks were approaching, I heard a rustling sound to my right. There was a large pile of trash bags that were moving? My eyes became in tune with dark, and everywhere I looked, it was swarming with rats. Again, rats are cute. Even the big ones. They were swarming the bags, tearing them open, searching for food. The odor was sickening, and it sent a shiver up my spine. This place turns my stomach, I said. Chuck looked to the right and let out a silent laugh. You afraid of... You afraid of the gray puppies? Remember what I said earlier? I said they were pocket puppies. Remember, guys, I didn't read this before. I didn't know he was going to say that. Love that. Okay, you're back on my good side when it comes to rats. Puppies, I said? Never had any pets like that. They look hungry, I said. Always right, Chuck said as he motioned to start moving toward the ship. Before we were even halfway up the ramp to the ship, a guard headed down toward us. He had an automatic weapon in his left hand and a walkie-talkie in his right. You know him? I asked. Yes, Chuck replied. Tell him I'm a buyer and ask him for a light for your cigarette. Right. We meet the guard halfway up the ramp. Chuck, what do you want? Who is this? Duncan will have your head. He's a buyer. Where's Duncan? The guard brings the walkie to his mouth and I jab my elbow into Chuck's ribs. Chuck put his cigarette in his mouth and motions to the guard. Got a light? The guard releases his weapon and uses a free hand to reach into his pocket for a lighter. In one motion, I drive my knife blade into his neck 3 times, oh my god, and kick him over the railing into the water below. Why no grab his weapon? Chuck asked. I don't like guns, I said as I picked up my pace up to the ramp. All he needs is a knife, apparently, jeez. And a broom. I know now I can do this. My confidence is building every step I take. Sam must be close. I can feel it. We ran across the deck of the ship. Chuck led the way to a stairway, like he said, up one staircase and then down 2. The door was open, just a crack. I could hear a woman crying. Oh. I had to get inside this room. I had to end this. I looked to Chuck and he nodded to me and he opened the door. There were 2 men. One was sitting behind a table looking at a computer screen. The other was putting a zip tie on the woman's hands. What are you doing here, you idiot? I told you to never come here. The one at the computer barked in Chuck's direction. Who is this? Are you out of your mind? Duncan and Chuck went back and forth on how I was interested in purchasing, what he had for sale, and so on. Their voices became louder and louder, but it was as if I had blocked their argument out. I could only concentrate on one thing, and one thing only. Sam. Sam was here, and she was alive. They had her hand zip-tied to a pipe in the wall, and she had a cloth tied around her mouth to behind her head. Aw. She sat there shivering and looked like she had been through a lot. She turned her face my way, and her eyes caught mine, and she smiled. Then her smile dimmed, and she started to cry. It made my blood run cold. It awoke a part of me I thought was long gone. Nobody treats her like this, and lives to tell about it. I acted out of pure aggression without thinking. I walked directly at the man standing in the middle of the room and drove the blade of my knife into his skull and twisted it. Oh my god. That's a hard one, I feel like, to stick a knife into a skull.
The temple.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad you have answers because I'm like, how is he doing this? Pulling the blade out quickly, I turned to Duncan. Duncan reached for a gun on the table, but Chuck grabbed it first, and Duncan ran out the door. Chuck was right behind him, but stopped at the entrance. I will take care of him. You get your Sam and get off the ship. Aha, Chuck. I'm starting to like him. I hope he doesn't turn on him.
Chucky boy.
Chucky boy. I ran across the room and dropped to my knees in front of Sam. I cut the zip ties from her hands and pulled the cloth out of her mouth. We threw our arms around each other and didn't say a word. I held her till she stopped crying a little. I can't believe you're here, Sam cried. I started to talk. Please get us out of here, please. I started to try again. Somehow I knew you would show. She knew he would show over her husband? Oh. I placed my index finger on her lips. I love you, I exclaimed. I love you, I said again. I know, I've always known, Sam said. Are you hurt? Can you walk? I said as I helped her to her feet. Walk? Oh, yeah, right, I'm running out of here. Let's free the others and get out, Sam said. I took off my leather jacket and put it on Sam. She was shivering so bad. Together we freed the 5 other women and made our way up and down the flights of stairs in the boat leading to the deck of the ship. I could hear the gunfire behind us inside the ship, then it was quiet. We made our way to the van, and the women immediately all huddled together in the back. Sam was sitting in the passenger seat holding the keys I gave her. I opened the driver's door, and 2 shots rang out. I felt a burning sensation in my left shoulder, and the front of my shirt was soaked with blood. Oh no! Oh no! Okay. I didn't see that coming. You actually thought you would just come here and take them and run away, Duncan said as he emerged from behind the pile of wooden pallets. He had Chuck by the back of his jacket. Chuck had been shot and was fading fast. He could barely stand on his own. No, save Chuck! Save him. You may have worked your magic on this weak creature here, but... A shot rang out and Duncan let go of Chuck, and his lifeless body fell to the ground. Oh, I'm sorry, Chuck. Rest in peace. At least his last moments were good moments.
Chucky boy.
Chucky boy.
We love you, Chuck.
Rest in peace. I started walking toward Duncan. A slight smile appeared on my face. Oh, man. What is so funny? You are about to die. I have the gun, Duncan said. I can count, and by my count, you are out of bullets. I'm going to make sure you will never hurt another woman ever again, I said to him as he pointed the pistol at my chest. Click. Click, the gun was empty. Love that. Love that for him. I punched him harder than I have ever hit anyone before, again and again, each time knocking him backwards. Then I kicked square in the chest, and he crashed into a pile of pallets, and they came crashing down on top of him. The pallets pinned both arms and legs, and he couldn't free himself. Then I heard the rustling of the garbage bags, and I walked back to the van. The rustling of the bags stopped when the lights from the van turned on, and we could see hundreds of hungry gray puppies engulfing the fallen pallets. Dinner was... Wait, hang on. This is the best line. Dinner was served. Oh, that was good. That was a good line. Yeah. Hungry puppies indeed. I was losing a lot of blood and was in and out of consciousness. When I came to, one of the women was driving. I was laying on the bench seat in the van. My head was on Sam's lap, and she was applying pressure to my wounds. Sam, if I don't make it, I want you to know... I started to say, then started fading out again. Stay awake. Please stay awake. I'm not losing you. We're almost there. The hospital is the next street over. Open your eyes. It's all my fault. Stay awake, Sam said as her voice became softer and softer. My eyes were closed tight. The burning pain was gone and I could not see her. I know she will be safe. She will get home. She will live her life. I promised her mom I would find her and bring her home, and I did. She will forget about me eventually and enjoy a family on her own. She will be okay. Now I know why God brought us together. I had thought I was being punished and tortured by God all this time. God knew I would love her, but would never be able to be with her. It was torture. Sam is all I ever wanted in another. She is worth dying for. All this time I was wrong. I was being trained. She saved me. Now it was my job to save her. God must have big plans for Sam. My only hope is that we will meet again. Pause. There's a little bit more. Sorry. Okay. It just said pause, so I felt like I needed to say it. Like a script. My head is pounding like a drum. My back feels soaking wet. What is going on? I can't remember what happened. All I know is my head is really hurting. I hear a voice ever so weak, and then it starts to get clearer and clearer. Come on, open your eyes. Open them, don't fall asleep on me. I struggled to open my eyes, and just a slight crack of the eyelids at first. Then they were wide open. It was Sam. She held my head in her lap, and she was holding a towel firmly on the back of my head. You slipped on water and fell so hard. I thought I lost you. It sounded awful. I think your head is broken. But don't move. I've got you. The ambulance is on the way. You're bleeding so bad. You're doing a great job. I raised my hand to place it on the side of her face. She took my hand and held it there. You've been out for a while. Were you dreaming? She smiled at me, and for a second, the entire world just stopped still, and there was a glow around her. I tried to force out the words. It was as if I had lost my voice, but then I remembered I have something important to say. I love you. The end. So we dreamt the whole thing?
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Well, that explains the immense violence and being able to just kill all those dudes first try.
Yeah, you can do anything in your dreams.
Yeah, if you dream it hard enough, you can achieve anything, including murder.
Good job, Anonymous A.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was great.
That was very interesting. It had me the whole time, even though I was struggling to read, and I'm very sorry. I hope I did it justice, except for that one paragraph.
Good job.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good job.
thanks.
Alrighty, now we are on story number 2 by Anonymous B, and the title is The Boy the Sun Loved.
Oh, I really love that.
Yeah.
That sounds really sweet.
Yeah.
Did they just come up with their own, idea?
Yeah, they did.
Love that.
Okay. Many years ago, a young man wandered into a clearing after a leisurely morning stroll through the woods. He decided to take some time to let the world pass him by, so laid a blanket over the dewy grass and sat in the stillness. The air was filled with the earthy scent of petrichor. The birds flitted among the trees, darting swiftly through the evergreens and singing their melodies. Hours passed as he spent his time admiring the magnificent I can't
This
say.
happens a lot too. Brandi gives herself big words a lot and then stumbles over them constantly.
But I didn't even write this one.
I know, but I'm just
Magnificent.
say something.
Magnificent?
Yeah,
Magnificently.
magnificent. Magnificent.
You're right, yeah.
Magnificent.
Magnificent.
We love it.
Magnificent. Hours passed as he spent his time wow!
Sound it out.
I can't! I'm starting over. Okay. Many years ago, a young man wandered into a clearing after a leisurely morning stroll through the woods. He decided to take some time to let the world pass by, so laid a blanket over the dewy grass and sat in the stillness. The air was filled with the earthy scent of petrichor. The birds flitted among the trees, darting swiftly through the evergreen and singing their melodies. Hours passed by as he spent his time admiring the sky above him. Though he had spent countless afternoons like this, he noticed for the first time how stunningly beautiful it was to see the sun's rays peek through the leaves and shower him with light. He felt a surge of joy as he closed his eyes and felt the warmth she brought. The sun has fallen in love with the boy. Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
For she had witnessed his harmony with the world around him. She had seen how he gently fed the small woodland creatures, and how he had boldly hiked through the forest to stand on the mountain peaks to watch the trees sway in the wind beneath. She was smitten by him, and always looked forward to rising over the horizon each morning to greet him. Oh! The two would chat through the dawn as he sat on the mountain tops and surveyed the fields below him. The world was quiet and serene, but if you listened carefully, you could hear the subtle movements of beauty as the light first awakened the world each day. They would laugh at the clumsy fawns as they stumbled in their first steps. They marveled at the sight of a young blue jays taking their first flight. The sun illuminated the entire world, but her heart was always with the one she loved. She sent her rays to warm his hands in the winter cold, and made sure his garden was wealthy and prosperous. She would hide behind the clouds so the rain could nourish the nearby trees and lakes. But if the boy ever grew sad at the gloomy world outside his window, she would push through and show that her light was never too far away. In the summer when he worked, she'd slip behind the clouds and dim her rays so he would never overheat. And when it was time for grand adventures, she would linger in the sky as long as she could to light his way home. The boy promised that he would always love her, and told her that the world was more beautiful now that he knew her. But soon all the wonderful things they shared paled in comparison to the desire of touching her. He was no longer satisfied with the beautiful and precious things she gave him,
or her kisses on his cheek. The boy usually stayed home to sit on his lawn and say goodnight to his love. But one night he walked down by the shore after dusk to think. He saw the moonbeams sparkle over the ocean tide. What he didn't know was that sometimes the moon had peeked through the sky when the sun had not set yet. And he had seen the love the sun had for him. She was jealous and wanted to steal him away. She spoke to him that night, whispering promises of brightly lit night sky, telling him she'd light his way when the sun turned her back on him each night. She told him she'd pull the ocean tides so waves would splash against his feet on the shore, and that someday, since she could not burn him, she would come visit her in the sky. By the time the first of the sun's rays brushed against the horizon, the boy had found a new love in the promises from the moon. Oh my gosh!
It's 2 time in the sun.
Yeah!
Yeah.
That's bold.
I'm so upset right now.
Like the sun literally gives us life.
Yeah.
This is like night and day. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Let's see what this cheating boy has.
Yeah.
Can't
She-
trust men apparently.
No.
Son of a son.
It's there,
The son of a son.
He took off in a sprint and rushed through the forest hastily, choosing the paths most dense with trees so the sun would not see him. He dashed under canopies and in the shadows of the mountains until he reached his home. Once inside, he closed his shades and hid away until the sun could no longer stay in the sky. She worried that day, her heart yearning for the one she loved. And so it was for many days the boy would hide away, leaving the sun to wonder where she had failed him. Oh, leaving her,
sad.
I know, leaving her in the fact to hide behind the clouds and dim her light and shame. Oh,
Now the whole world has to suffer rainy days because of this one dude.
yeah. The flowers began to wilt and the birds stopped singing their songs. The people stayed indoors and peeked out their windows at the dark, dismal sight. She felt shattered, lost, abandoned, and betrayed, so she gave up on herself as he did. Now the moon had the boy's love. She no longer cared. It was winter now, and the sun hid away as much as she could, while the moon appeared earlier and earlier. Some nights she gave only a fragment of herself to the boy. A crescent appeared above him, and a calm sea before him. Some nights she did not come out at all.
Oh, that's clever. Using
Yeah.
phases of the moon to like portray emotions
Mm-hmm.
and aloofness. Is she crapping out or what was the other one? Oh, just developing.
Yeah. One day the boy felt homesick for the forest he had not visited in so long. So he returned to the very same clearing where his love for the sun had blossomed just like the flowers were starting to. Springtime had arrived. While he expected the sun to cry out to him or hide from him, he saw something that took his breath away. The sun had realized all the love she had to give, and she gave it to the things that made her happiest. The flowers bloomed like never before. The little old lady down the street woke up each morning to her vegetables and fruit growing more vibrantly colorful in time. The single mother in the town found new solace in the way the sun warmed her porch swing, which gave her the perfect place to rest while her children napped. The sun rose each morning to greet the eager children for their time to play. And on Sundays, her light poured through the stained glass windows of the churches, painting beautiful mosaic with fragments of colors. The boy found it bittersweet to see her so happy, but how it was in spite of him, to know that he could have shared in this joy with her, but had cast her aside. His head was bowed in shame when the sun noticed him. But before she could speak, the moon appeared again, before her time, and they saw the boy still had love in his heart for the sun. She grew jealous and angry. The sea stirred in rapids, stinging crashes across the shoreline, toppling boats into the relentless current. She raced across the sky and eclipsed the sun, demanding that he choose between them. Ooh, okay. It was in this moment that the boy realized her light was not her own, and her promises were only ever made in spite. He knew she would never love him in the way that the sun did, but also that he was undeserving of such love. With his silent weeping, the moon found her answer and swept back into the night as quickly as she came. He told the sun how sorry he was and how beautiful the world was now that she was truly happy. He was grateful for all she had done and wished her the best. She told him that there would always be a place in her heart for him. In the coming seasons, he met a young lady and fell in love once more. This time, the love was calm and quiet. They cherished the simplicity of interlocking fingers and stolen kisses. They grew to raise 3 beautiful children out in the countryside, where the sunlight lit the dirt roads all the way until they reached the mountain ranges the boy used to climb. And his wife were happy, teaching their children to dance in the rain, and loved the way the light printed pictures through the stained glass windows on Sunday morning, and listened closely to the songs of the bluebirds in the trees above. His wife grew beautiful magnolias, her favorite flower, in the front of their porch, and the children played each night until sunset. The sun was overjoyed to see him happy, and he'd often wake up before anyone else to climb onto the roof from the attic's window and thank the sun for all the many blessings. For all the many blessings, and for teaching him what true love could be. One day, seemingly moments and also centuries since the first fateful day in the clearing, the boy had grown to be an old man. He would sit on his porch next to his wife, sipping lemonade and waiting for visits from their children, and now their grandchildren. He still enjoyed basking in the warm rays as he smiled at the way his wife would tend to her magnolias and then hold his hand while she read. With another few seasons came his wife's passing, leaving him lonely and heartbroken. He had spent many days inside.
I think Rosie's getting a little emotional from
I
the
know.
story.
Unable to bring himself to step onto their porch. He spent many days inside, unable to bring himself to step out onto their porch. When he finally did, he was greeted by a warm kiss on the cheek from the sun, the most vibrant magnolias he had ever seen, and the beautiful melody from the hatchlings of nearby nests. When he had passed later that summer, it was with great joy and peace, knowing he had 2 great loves of his life. And as the sun kissed his cheek one last time, it was everything he needed or wanted.
I should have known that Anonymous B was going to write something so beautiful.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Good job, Anonymous B.
Sobbing.
Yeah, we're all sobbing now, so is Rosie.
Yeah. You didn't hear the whining.
You'll probably be able to hear it on this.
Oh, yeah.
Now it is the final story, and Brandon, you are next.
All right, so I'm working on a novel currently called Road Trip to Reconciliation. And I'm actually not sure if I want it to be a novel or a screenplay. So we'll see. Once it's done, we'll see where it fits. Or it could be both. But maybe. But anyway. So I'll read to you the first 2 or 3 chapters. I forget how many I have here, but let's see. So I'll tell you all the beginning of the story. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but first I'll tell you a little bit what it's going to be about. So the genre is sort of like a comedy, but it also has serious moments. Kind of like a Tyler Perry movie. So it's about these 2 men who live in Georgia, small town, and they've known each other their whole lives. They're brothers from another mother's. They grew up together. Now they've grown up, and they're married with children. Their wives are best friends. Their kids are best friends. It's the perfect family. But in this story, they're gonna get into a bit of a falling out because one of the men slept with the other man's sister.
Oh no!
Years ago.
No.
Years ago. And he was going to keep the secret to the grave. But it ended up coming out during a drunk game of Truth or Dare. So, yeah.
Is there any other way to play Truth or Dare?
No. So that's going to cause a big falling out, and they intend on never talking to each other again until the wives step in and they're like, look, this is screwed up. But you two have been friends for how long now? And frankly, we're getting sick of your bickering. So we're sending you two on a road trip.
Oh, I love that.
You're going to drive up the East Coast and you're going to learn to get along.
This sounds like a movie that would have, like, it kind of reminds me, oh, it's called Due Date. Did you ever see that? It had Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis.
Oh.
Am I saying that right? In it? And, like, they're not friends, but they're on a road trip and they become friends at the end of it.
Oh, that's
It's
neat.
a comedy. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I like it.
It'll be yeah, that sounds like a similar kind of thing. Yeah.
Noisily.
We'll have to check that movie out.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but anyway, that's the summary of it. All right, so first I'll read you chapter 1. And the first chapter is called Rosie's.
I still want to
Rose.
Makes you hear this. Rosie is scratching on herself.
Just doing what dogs do.
Lay down, baby.
Anyway, I'll read chapter 1 and the first chapter is called Two Men Walk Into a Bar. There's no joke, it's just the name of the chapter. It was 1985. I also love the 80s, so retro. It was 1985 in Orchard Hill, Georgia, and two lifelong friends, more like brothers, were walking into a local bar after a long day at work. What a day that was, said an exhausted Eddie. You're telling me,
Oh my god.
Henry replied.
You can't do the accent the whole time.
Mac Haggis was ragging in my ear all day. I wanted to kill the prick. Me too, Eddie replied. But we're both too pretty for prison. It just takes one bar of soap.
Oh my god.
The two men laughed at Eddie's comment. When these two guys get together, they say whatever's on their minds. No filter whatsoever. They're not the kinds of people that get easily offended. When they get together, they say stuff they wouldn't say in front of their wives, or their mothers, or their boss, or their boss's mother. After all, they've known each other since they were 2. To put it simply, they were brothers from different mothers. Here you guys go, said the bartender, handing Henry a whiskey, and Eddie, the designated driver, just a Shirley Temple. Cheers, they said as they clinked glasses and took a big first gulp of the beverages. So what do you got going the rest of the night? Eddie inquired. Probably gonna wind down with the wife and kids, and then head to bed. It's a terrible southern accent, I know, but Henry replied while nodding. He wasn't slurring his words yet. How about you? Probably the same thing, honestly. Sounds like a relaxing night, Eddie, Henry replied.
I'm picturing, you know in Disney, those like old Disney movies where
Yeah.
they have that really old hound dog?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like that. Like with 2 of those kind of dogs, like
Yeah.
farm dogs.
Like I said, if this becomes a movie, I'm not going to play any of the characters. I'll be a background character, not saying
And you can
anything.
have the cameos like
Yeah.
Stanley used to do.
Exactly.
Make it a whole universe.
For sure, Eddie said. They drank some more and watched the football game that was playing on the TV in the bar. They were both rooting for the same team, the Patriots. Even though all of their friends and family root for the Atlanta Falcons, Eddie and Henry always felt drawn towards the Patriots for some reason. They've always felt drawn to New England in general. However, both of the men love where they live and wouldn't move away. They've considered snowbirding up north with their families. After all, though Georgia and New England are different, they have similarities. They both have hills, snow in the winter, lots of woodsy areas, a beautiful autumn season, and at least one metropolitan city. The big difference is that Georgia has more farms because of the longer summers. Georgia is also very Christian/Baptist versus New England being mostly Catholic/Jewish. I could have just said Christian and Baptist and Catholic and Jewish, but whatever. Yeah. Eddie and Henry have always wanted to travel, which is something they've barely done, being in a small farming town with not much income. Eddie and Henry never made much money, but they've always been content with what they had while working hard for an even better life. They've learned that they can be content with their current circumstances while also working to make them better. And better is starting today for Eddie and his family. Although Eddie and Henry barely need a reason to hang out at the bar for an evening, this particular evening was special. Eddie got a promotion at work, and that means more work and more money. Yay.
Yay.
I'm really proud of you, man, Henry said. You worked really hard for this. Thanks, man. I truly appreciate you sticking by me for all these years, Eddie replied. They hugged, paid for the tab, and went home.
The accent's gonna get me every time.
Yeah. Every time you speak, I'm going to start laughing.
Good. I love humor. Chapter 2, The Last Supper? ? Eddie, after a long day at work, was at his home helping his wife prepare dinner. He and his wife Stella have 2 daughters, Dolores and Debbie, whom they love very much. Debbie and Dolores were playing together in the playroom. They were doing one of their favorite things, having a tea party with their toy tea set, while wearing tutus. Sometimes Eddie would join them too, also wearing a tutu.
Wait, did you say they're children or dogs?
They're children.
Oh my god. I pictured dogs for a second.
Why?
I don't know. So when you started saying that they're having a tea party in tutus, I was like, wait. I think I was thinking about Rosie.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just missed the child part. I was like, dogs?
She's hard not to think about. I did say daughters, so maybe you heard. Maybe you heard dogs.
Probably that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's getting late.
Yeah. Sometimes Eddie would join them too, also wearing a tutu, which would make Stella laugh till she cried. And until she peed, but I don't know if I'm going to mention that in the book.
No, it makes sense with dogs, though.
Yeah. But Stella needed his help making dinner tonight, especially because Henry and his family were joining them tonight. Henry, with his wife Shirley, have a daughter named Karen, who is the same age as Debbie and Dolores.
Is she Karen?
Was that?
Is she Karen yet
No.
in this life? Okay.
Not while she's a kid.
Okay.
That might be another book. But,
She has to train for that in her teenage years.
oh, yeah. Stella and Shirley are best friends, and so are Karen, Debbie, and Dolores. The girls go to the same elementary school and are in the same class. The doorbell rang. Honey, could you get that? Stella asked her husband. Absolutely.
Is she 95?
No.
She sounds like one of those little old ladies.
Yeah.
Can you get that?
Brandi might do it better, but
Honey, can you get that for me, please?
that's much better.
Brandi, do the girl voices.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Absolutely, Eddie replied cheerfully, knowing it was Henry and his family at the door. Eddie went to open the door, and sure enough, it was them. Yo, right on time. That's all we got, pal. Time. Henry replied. Come on in, Eddie said, stepping aside while giving hugs to Henry and Stella.
Hi, Stella. How are you?
Shirley examined while giving her friend a big hug.
I'm doing good, sis. How are you?
Stella replied. The pair continue talking as the kids greet each other and head to the playroom. Karen joins her friends Debbie and Dolores in their pretend tea party. Need help with dinner, honey?
I think I'm good for now, but can you help me with the dishes after if you'd like?
Eddie agreed to do so. Henry and himself head to the couch to watch some television while waiting for supper. Now, as much as Eddie and Henry like watching the Patriots, and as much as a good number of men their age would turn on a football game while getting together in the family room, Eddie and Henry also liked to watch something else slightly more. They're music people. As such, they watch a tape of a band they like live in concert. Music is also their sport. Concerts are their sports games. Whether in person or on the television, the best thing about it for them was that there was no competition, just a band playing and people enjoying it. Tonight they were watching one of their favorites, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, which is also my favorite.
I was just going to ask if it was going to be Bruce Springsteen.
Yep. They always adored how he captured the atmosphere of the Jersey Shore with his raspy voice, the sound of the chords on his Telecaster guitar, and the sound of Clarence Clemens' saxophone. It calmed them down after a long day. They had also seen him in concert a few times in Atlanta, and they're planning to see him again in a few weeks. But for now, footage on the TV will have to do.
Dinner's ready!
The food was set up buffet style, and everyone took turns grabbing a plate and sitting down at the table. Once everyone is sat down, everyone bows their heads and Eddie says grace.
Amen!
Everyone said, and they dug in.
How's school going, girls?
Great, we got all A's this past quarter, says Karen. I'm especially doing good in English. Yes, and I'm especially doing good in math, says Dolores. History for me, Debbie chimed in.
That's awesome.
Brandi and Corinne are in tears right now. Yes, we're so proud of you girls, Eddie said, with everyone smiling and nodding in agreement. The girls are very smart and intelligent for their age, and their parents could not be prouder of them. They never expect perfection from them, but they do expect effort, and the girls always give 100% into everything they do. Stella, this steak is so good.
Why, thank you, Henry. It's a family favorite.
Can my wife cook or what?
I think she's great.
Stella said, referring to herself. Everyone laughed. They continue eating and talking. After dinner, Eddie goes to help Stella with the dishes while Shirley and the girls clean up the table. So I'm laughing because I just saw the next line, which is going to be funny. Henry went to the couch, much to Shirley's dismay.
Get your ass up and help us!
Shirley said to her husband. Henry rolled his eyes like a teenager and got up to help.
Hey, you helped eat it. You can help clean it up.
Sorry to make you swear.
Okay.
Fair enough, can't argue with that, Henry said, grinning. Shirley smiled at him. Henry's a good man, but he isn't always a gentleman like Eddie, so the girls like to tease him about it, which he didn't mind, because he also doesn't get offended. Pretty soon, all four of them were helping to clean up. Chapter 3, Water Under the Bridge? ? They finished cleaning up. Now it was time for some adult fun. So they sent the kids to the playroom. Eddie offered everyone a drink and got everyone their chosen drinks from the fridge. They all did a cheer and took their first sips. Eddie started cracking jokes and everyone was dying from laughter. He's always enjoyed making people laugh because laughing is good for your health. Being lifelong friends, when this group gets together, they always reminisce about the good old days. To their parents, teachers in school, friends and enemies in school growing up, memories, you name it. And it was no different that night. They always loved to film home videos of these nights to show their grandchildren one day. Stella set up the camera and rolled it. Eddie and Henry started slurring their words, and the wives were getting concerned as they have not drank this much in a while. But they decided to just let it go for the moment. The group decided to play Truth or Dare, a favorite of theirs to play most nights. Okay, ladies first, Eddie said, slurring. Truth or Dare?
Truth.
Okay, have you ever written graffiti on the bathroom stall?
Oh, yes, I have. I wrote, Mrs. Smith is a crazy old devil woman on the bathroom stall in 2nd grade. I got caught and I had to write the teacher an apology letter.
Little fun fact, I actually did that in 2nd grade. And I had to write the teacher an apology letter. Except this wasn't graffiti. I just said it to her face.
Call her a crazy old devil woman to her face?
Yeah.
Wow. Bold.
Mm-hmm. Everyone was laughing. All right, Shirley. Truth or dare?
Dare.
I dare you to drink chocolate milk with mayonnaise in it.
What?
Eddie!
I had friends of mine that made me do that one time.
Oh,
It took me just one sip, and I was like, nope.
that's unholy.
Yeah. What? It's truth or dare? Eddie replied.
He is right. I'll do it.
Said Shirley, who has always been very brave. Shirley went to prepare the disgusting drink and drank a whole. It was disgusting, and she had to go to the bathroom and vomit.
What?
But she was still laughing and having a good time because she was a good sport. They go through some rounds of the game with Eddie and Henry doing crazy dares as if they were on Jackass. At one point, Eddie drank toilet water, which everyone thought was crazy. But everyone, even the wives at this point, were drunk, too drunk to talk him out of it.
I think even the chocolate milk and mayonnaise is worse than the toilet water.
Oh, I agree. To his surprise, because at least it still tastes like water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no mayonnaise in it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, never mind. You knew what I was getting at. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
To his surprise, he never got sick from it. He had an iron stomach. Everyone was having a great time. Now, there's nothing wrong with alcohol, but when people have too much, things can get out of hand. Hey, Henry, truth or dare? Eddie said. Truth, Henry replied. Who was the first woman you slept with? Eddie asked. Without thinking, Henry revealed his secret that he wanted to take to the grave. But the alcohol got the best of him. Your sister, Henry said proudly. Normally, Eddie would be furious, but he was too drunk to realize what his lifelong friend was telling him. As such, he just laughed and replied, ha 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 ha, that's great, and gave Henry a high five. The wives were also too drunk to realize what was happening. Eventually, they all passed out on the big sofa.
To be continued?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you a little bit. I don't have a copy of the... Actually, if you want to hear the next chapter, I think I have it.
Well, if you want to leave it up to people to be excited to read.
Let's do like you doing the next listener episode with the next chapter.
Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do it in the next listener episode.
All I'll say is it gets ugly.
I'm sure it does. No, I like those.
Yeah, that was fun.
Thank you.
I didn't expect the accent, so that killed me.
Yeah.
The first 2 chapters you were reading.
Well, thank you. But it sounds like a movie idea, right?
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Good job.
Glad you like it. Thank you.
And thank you for being our first guest.
Oh, not a problem. Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this. Yeah.
Now that we've been trying to do it for the past month.
Yeah.
Hey, then that means I had more time to prepare, so
Fair.
it wasn't a bad thing.
thank you for everyone's submissions. This was a good time. And thank you, Brandon, for coming on to our show with us.
Thanks for having me.
And I would like for you to read your other part on the next listener's episode.
For
I would
sure.
also like that.
Yeah.
'Cause I want to know what happens.
It gets ugly. It gets ugly.
But since this was a bonus episode for Christmas, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad. For our Spanish friends.
Only.
Only. But if you guys want to send in a submission for our next listener's episode,
That'll be on February 1st.
yes, February 1st, send them to apodoftails@gmail.com.
And you can stay anonymous if you would like. Just let us know. If you
Yeah.
would like credit, let us know your name. If you feel like saying where you're from or your age, whatever, go for it. But we want to be able to give you credit if you would like it.
Yes, and this was a lot of fun, so I hope we do get more submissions. I highly encourage you. You can also use our past prompts, or you can just send in anything that you'd like.
Yeah, use your imagination. Let it run wild. So Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
Bye!
Toodle-doo.